Good evening. Welcome to Blue Collar Fishing Live on Thursday nights. We are supposed to have guest Alex Rudd in here tonight. He seems to be running a little bit late, so we'll go ahead and uh, start the live, start broadcasting, and give the audience time to get in here as well. Hopefully, Alex will be with us soon. I know most people probably tuned in for Alex over my ugly mug. He's messaging me now. He's having some login problems, giving him fits. So hopefully he'll be in here soon. See if we can get him in here. Ah, there he is.
There,
What up, buddy?
not much, man. How are you?
Oh, what a day you gave me.
I'm telling you, dude. I give you the runaround every now and again. I mean, like I tell people all the time, like if anybody can live inside my head for about 5 minutes, they'd be terrified.
I have posted and unposted and deleted and disclaimed and tried to
I'm
find
sorry.
another guest and then, oh, never mind, screw you.
Never mind, I'm coming. I'm coming. Oh, that's great. That's great. But yeah, dude, that's funny, man. It's how it goes with me. People start to learn really quick when you start dealing with me, man. I'm scatterbrained as they get. So
All right. We can turn that background music off now that we have somebody in here
there you go.
to listen
There
to
you go.
besides just me.
Yeah.
All right. Get up back to the comments. Says we got 4 so far watching, but they're not very chatty.
All
So,
right. Everybody get over in that comment section. Let me know who's here. I'd love to talk to you.
should have a crowd coming in later. Excuse me. I didn't want to cough in anybody's ear. Oh, so what you been up to, man? It's been about a month since you've been on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been going good, dude. I went full time starting in June and just been fishing and making videos and doing my thing. It's been busy, busy, busy. June like flew by. Um, First week of June went off without a hitch. Second and third week of June I had COVID. And then last week of June, I fished a little bit, and then we packed and we went to the beach. And then we got in July, and so we were gone the whole first week of July. And so it's just like the past like month and few days is just like flown by. You know what I mean? Because that COVID kept me down for a solid 2 weeks. I felt terrible. Like I hadn't had it. I'd never had it until this point, and I mean I just felt absolutely terrible. But I'm back after it. I'm up. I'm moving around. I'm doing my thing now. So going to ICAST next week. Gonna go down there and see all my peeps and see all the new baits and put my hands on some stuff and get some deals done. And then once I get back, it's Katie bar to the door. I gotta get to making some fishing videos and go fishing a whole bunch. And then I got some cool trips planned the rest of the year. September I don't have anything, but well no September I might have something. But August doing a little saltwater fishing. September I may be going to Iowa. Um, October we're going up to Michigan, and so it's going to be a good year. We got a lot of stuff to do, a lot of cool places to be. It's good stuff, man.
I wish I could say that, but I'm not full time. I gotta go fishing when I can.
Hey, dude, I know the struggle, man. It's crazy. It's crazy that I can even say that I'm full time. I mean, it's still nuts to me, but I will never forget the 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week working, and only being able to fish on the weekends, man. I mean, like it's the reality for a
90,
mass majority. Yeah, a mass majority of
90%
the
of
anglers.
Americans.
Yeah, man. It's mass majority of the anglers. You know, they can go fishing on the weekends, which is fascinating. What was crazy is me and Ben were just talking about the whole change with the Bassmasters Opens, where they have to fish all 9 events to qualify for the Elite Series. So like these dudes who were just fishing, you know, a select open here, a select open there, they can't do that anymore with the promise of qualifying for the Elite Series. They have to fish all 9 of them. And so just in tournament entry fees, you're looking at $16,000 just in tournament entry fees, and then essentially having off 9 weeks in the year to go and fish these tournaments. I mean, it's just crazy, man. It's just that to me isn't growing the sport or doing anything to help promote the sport. If anything, it's just making it very elitist in a rich man's game, and that sucks because it shouldn't be that way. You know what I mean?
I honestly I hate the fact that they even call those guys the elites. Just call them pros
Yeah.
because elite I associate with elitist.
Yep. Yeah, I
And
agree.
it's like that whole thing on Ike's podcast about a year ago. It was my biggest tweet of the
Yeah.
year about him saying during the tournament should the lakes be closed off to the public, and I was like, no,
Whoa, no.
no,
Yeah. Don't even get me started on that one. I didn't
no.
I actually didn't hear that comment. But that would be such a I'm surprised I didn't hear that. That's crazy. I'll have to go check that one out. But that is such a radically um anti-public waters and public lands and the use of public water and public land idea or thought process that it's absolutely crazy. Um, sure, yeah, let's cut off the whole lake to the public during the event, but let's give $100,000 to conservation of that waterway that they're fishing on instead of giving $100,000 to the pro who wins the tournament, and then I might be
We'll
able
think
to
about
agree
it.
with this. Then we might think about it. And
If you can
that's kind of
replace all the money they're going to lose that day,
yeah, and that's just crazy to me, man. That's one thing I've always had an issue with is we and anybody listening, you're gonna get me on a soapbox. I love it. This is great. We and anybody that's listening that buys a fishing license are the people who are putting back into the system of conservation and the system of building boat ramps and building access and doing the things to maintain accesses and maintain boat ramps. The person who puts the ski boat in isn't contributing to that fact unless they're buying a fishing license and or unless your state is enforcing some kind of ramp fee. And so, I really have an issue with people who don't understand that nothing is free, number one, and don't understand where the money's coming from so that they can put their boat ramp or their boat in at that boat ramp. You know what I mean? Um, and so for someone or anybody to have the elitist point of view or just the point of view of, we're going to cut off public access to this place because this group of guys are here that are going to fish in this tournament that's a crazy idea to me. And just the fact that we're going to recapitulate and reorganize, this system of bass fishing and tournament bass fishing that used to be an avenue for normal dudes like you, like me, to go and fish a tournament or two tournaments within the year and make, a significant sacrifice, because that was one thing that was brought up in a lot of comments was like, this will really prove who's willing to make the sacrifice to become a professional bass fisherman. Well, in the old system, an $1,800 entry fee plus let's say $1,400 in expenses for a week of travel and a week of staying somewhere, that's a significant sacrifice in a lot of people's lives. I mean, especially if you're only making $35,000 or $40,000 a year, to take, let's say, $3,000 of that money and put it into a tournament that you really have a very, very slim chance of winning. Man, that's a huge gamble with your financial, your financial basis of your life. That is a huge sacrifice. And I just think it's a very, very misguided point of view to think otherwise than that. But I don't know. I got on my soapbox about that. That's my opinion. Feel free to make it your own or disagree with me. I
I
don't
agree.
care.
I actually
Yeah.
had a guy last week, Adam Mahora Fishing was my guest last week, and he kind of went on the side of the tournament angler, and his
Yeah.
argument was, well, you got 364 other days. Like, no, you don't. But even if I did, my fishing license doesn't say 364 days a year I can fish on that lake.
Yeah.
It's good for a year.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but this was during the Bass Masters, which is normally around Easter. There's a lot of families that want to go fishing at their local lake on
Well,
Easter weekend or spring break
there's
or whatever.
there's no shape, form, fashion, anything that you could ever say to me that I would say let's shut down a lake for anybody to use it. I
And at
mean,
the
they're
time, this
having.
was on
Go ahead.
Lake
I'm sorry.
Hartwell, which is what 50,000 acres. I think there's enough room for us all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's my so Saturday I'm fishing a tournament on Mountain Hill, this little lake near me. They're having the junior national rowing competition. And so the junior national rowing competition is going to take up a whole section of the lake. Now it's not a huge section of the lake. I mean, I would say it's less than, 1/16 of the entire lake. But those people are still going to come in there. Now you can still access that area. You can still use that area, and that's great. But it's not the whole lake. But even that, to me, I would love to know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, what is the junior national rowing competition doing for the waterway? Like, what
Right,
money are they giving back? Because
right.
I'm sorry, dude, but like the junior national rowing competition can't bring in that much revenue to
It
local
cannot.
businesses, and it can't. And it's not doing anything for the actual waterway. Like, my deal has always been, I don't care about local economics. Like, it's great that when the Bassmaster Classic comes to Knoxville, that these local businesses get a boost and business does well. That's great. But what are we doing for the conservation of the waterway that they're fishing on? Because fishing, you hear a lot of people say fishing isn't as good as it used to be.
Right.
No, we have a systemic conservation problem within each state. And it's a conservation problem going in the wrong direction. Texas is fishing better than it has ever fished ever. And it's got more pressure and more fishermen and more going on down there than it ever has. And the only reason it can keep up with it is because Texas Parks and Wildlife is bending over backwards to make sure that these lakes are stocked and that conservation is in full swing down there.
Yeah,
And
they also have the Lunker Share program. I just saw your buddy Tyler
mhm.
Real.
Yeah,
He got one for the Lunker Share program. I saw his
yeah,
video a couple of weeks ago.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's just crazy to me. I can get on this soapbox for a long time, but I mean, just to kind of sum it all up, is there's a lot of things that go on that is there's a lot of money somewhere, but I'm not seeing it put back into conservation,
Right.
especially when like the TWA is having to go, send out messages like, hey, fundraiser this, fundraiser that, help us fundraise, da 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 da. So that means that, when Bassmaster comes into Knoxville, is any of that money going to the TWA? I really hope that it is. I don't know that if it is, and that's honestly a podcast that I'm planning on doing in the future, is getting some people on and we go talk finances. It may not be the funnest show ever,
It
but
will,
we we go talk some finances.
there there will be some money going at least 90 weekend. Well, no, 86 maybe weekend or temporary because you do to fish in whatever lake you're fishing at. You do have to buy the local license even in a tournament,
Yeah,
as far as I'm aware.
but
Now,
80
is that
dudes,
enough?
80 dudes. I mean, so
Right.
let's see. I think it's like $70 for an out of state, $75. Let's say $75 for an out of state for 80 dudes. That's $6,000. Dude, it's dropping the hat. It's
Yeah.
money. It's dropping the hat though.
Well, my thing was also on that. May acknowledge some commentary real quick before
Yeah.
we get on our soapbox again. Wild Game Pursuit is in the house tonight. He said, "What's up, fellas?" He asked, "We're at Michigan." He's from Michigan here. You mentioned
Huh?
Michigan earlier.
Yeah, so I'll be going up to upper part of Michigan, Traverse City area. We're not staying in Traverse City, but we're staying close to Traverse City. So we'll be up there. Going to do a little bit of that fall fishing with my buddy Ben.
And Grant McIntosh is also with us tonight. He says there's a group of lakes here that you have to have a yearly sticker on boat and truck to fish.
Hey, there you go. And I'm sure those lakes are really, really good. We have a set of those lakes here in Tennessee too. You got to buy a special pass to go fish them. And those lakes are consistently producing, giant fish. And it's because that little bit of extra money goes directly into the conservation of that lake, stocking programs and stuff like that. And so, dude, it works. I mean, I hate taxes and I hate being taxed like the next guy. I believe taxation is theft, but it is not theft if I'm seeing a direct response to the money that I'm paying out. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to
Well,
buy a fishing license, I would love to see the result of the fishing license purchase being used for something good.
and also that particular taxation, I chose. I
Exactly.
chose to participate in this program. They didn't take it
Yep.
by force.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. And by
I
choosing,
actually, I, I actually agree with that. Is like I'm with you, but I hate taxation. But
Mhm.
that is like the one tax I'm okay paying because I do know it makes a difference. I do know
Yep.
it does. It keeps that resource there for future generations. I've got
Yep.
kids who are well adults now, but
Mhm.
I want that resource there for the next generation that enjoys it.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting, man. You know, I'm in a position where if I wanted to, I could go pay entry fees and I could go fish. I got the time, I got the money. I go do it if I wanted to. But just the fact that the structure is the way that it is, that you can't come participate with me, I just can't. I just can't. I can't get down with that because the whole point of the system being set up the way that it is I think too, now that I'm thinking about it, and then we'll get off this topic because I could go all night about this crap. I think too they want to try to make the professional fishing elite series, whatever, you know, whatever that high tier of fishing in any organization is, they want it to seem like it is like other sports, like, you know, the MLB or, you know, NFL. But there's just such a dramatic difference in what it takes to do that. Like an NFL player is elite. I mean, that's the best of the absolute best, and they are the best of the absolute best. But you know, it's just not the same. I mean, like you're talking, it's not the same. Like,
I had this exact same conversation. And I said exactly what you said. I
yeah,
said also another reason I hate the word elites. I hate that they call the Bassmaster elites.
yeah,
Uh, if you want to call them professionals, fine,
mm-hmm.
but elites because okay, I'm sorry. I will never run the 100-yard dash like Usain Bolt. It will never, ever happen.
Exactly, exactly.
I will never throw a football like Patrick Mahomes.
Nope,
It will not happen.
nope. They're freaks. I mean,
Never.
they're anomalies. They're anomalies in the system of people. Like they're not
And
normal humans.
no matter how many steroids I could take,
Yeah.
I would not, you know, if you believe that he was on them, I will never hit a baseball like Barry Bonds.
Mm-mm.
That will not happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? You give me sponsored equipment, sponsored bait, and an $80,000 glitter rocket and a $7,000 electronic system, I might one day beat Iaconelli on a Bassmaster Tour.
Yeah. I mean,
There's a lot less distance between the common Joe in fishing
yeah.
and the professional than in any other sport.
Yes.
And you know
Yes.
this, I guarantee you, a lot of those local guys, if that's their local lake, if they were allowed in that tournament in a John boat, just knowing where the spots to go, they would mollywop those guys that aren't from there.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a dude. It's such a gamble. It's professional gambling, is what it is. It's high stakes
Yeah, it
professional
is.
gambling. I'll always say that. There's been people who vehemently disagree with me, and I really don't care. But it's high stakes. It's high stakes gambling because, dude, a fish moves. A fish can die. A fish can poop out something and lose 3 ounces. I mean, I mean, it's so many different little factors. Whereas, like, you know, with a professional football player, you know, like you were saying, the gap between normal person, the gap between me and I'm going to use UFC because I love UFC. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a great example of the gap between me and the heavyweight champion of the world. So at my walk around weight right now, I weigh 235. So at 235, I would fight in the heavyweight division of the UFC. The drastic difference between me and Francis Ngannou, the heavyweight champion of the world, is so like it is cavernous, the difference between us. I mean, he is a 6'5" Greek god of a human being. The dude literally can punch harder than a small sedan would hit you at 30 miles an hour. The dude is a just freak of nature, walking around, just giant man who will literally knock your head completely off your body. And the thing is I could train and train and train and train and train and do all of these things and go and go and go and go. But I am years and years, if not decades, away from having the ability to go in the ring and even last a round with a man that's like Francis Ngannou, or the technical prowess of these different fighters. But like you say, professional fishing, man, anybody can get beat at any time. Anybody. I mean, dude, anybody can get beat at any time. And that's the thing is, I've fished against really good fishermen, and I've fished around really good fishermen. And I mean, dude, all it takes is one treble hook coming unpopped, or it takes one line breaking, or it takes one fish dying. And it's the difference between being a hero and a zero. And the difference between us and, even a guy like me who spends a lot of time on the water and, a pro is, like you say, it's minimal compared to any other sport. And even college, like, dude, the difference between like a college football player and a professional football player is drastic. So you're right, man. It's interesting. It's an interesting topic. It's something you could go on and on and on about. I just know that the place that I'm setting in my current opinions, in my current thought processes, in my current ideas, which I do not marry myself to my ideas in any way. I'm always willing to have a discussion about them. But the way that I sit now, professional fishing has nothing for me. Like, it really doesn't. Like, it's cool. I'm glad that it exists. I have some friends that are professional fishermen who are really, really good dudes who love what they do, and that's great. But for professional fishing in my life, it doesn't affect me in any way. So I'll let it go on and let it do its thing and just do my thing and not even act like it's there.
Don't get me wrong. I have all the respect in the world for them. I really do. I grew up on them. I enjoyed watching them every Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Bill Dance is my hero.
Yeah.
Tennessee boy that fished for a living. Seriously. Like, that was my bucket list, getting my picture taken with Bill Dance.
Yeah.
And I did it. I talked to Jimmy Houston. I walked around the Classic with him for an hour. Jimmy Houston's the greatest guy you'd ever want to meet.
Cool as a fan, dude. Love that man.
Yeah. Seriously, he is the nicest man you could ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
But elite,
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I just looked it up. Me and you met in 2019, the last time the Classic was in Knoxville.
Yeah.
That's how me and you know each other.
Yeah.
I put money on Art Defoe.
Yep.
I did. I bet on Art Defoe winning that Classic, and he did. So I won the bet of Art Defoe. I put money on Art Defoe because I know there is a huge advantage in being from there.
Yeah. And knowing that lake like the back of your hand.
Fort Loudon is Art Defoe's home lake. Guess what? Art Defoe won on his home lake.
Yeah.
I just looked it up, his weight on the last day. Now, I'm a multi-species guy, and I don't have the patience to really be an effective tournament angler. I can admit that. I just like catching fish. But you have fished some tournaments. You've had some success in the tournaments. Art Defoe's winning weight, his bag that day, was 18 pounds and 14 ounces. You, as a common weekend angler, you ever had a 20-pound bag?
Yeah. A lot of them. I've had 25 and 30-pound bags too. Like, not as many, but I've had them.
You ever thrown a football 90 yards?
No.
Me.
I like it. I like that. I like that a lot. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. I'm going to have to use that one. You ever thrown a football 90 yards? Nope. Oh, neither have I. That's pretty good, dude. That's pretty good. That's it, man. That's it, dude. Yeah, I respect them, dude. That's cool, man. I mean, I'm glad they exist. I'm glad that they do what they do. I think it's cool. I mean, I have to work around them, in the industry that I work in. And so, awesome dudes. As human beings, I got nothing. There's nothing that I can say bad about any of them. But just the system. It's not even the individual anglers itself. It's the system in which they're working within. And those individual anglers don't have any say in the system, and so they get lumped in because they're part of the system. But it's the system itself that's broken, and it's sad to see that that's the way that the system's decided to go instead of making it accessible for the blue collar fishermen. You know what I mean? Like, that's it, dude. That's it. But all right, let's get off that soapbox. Let's go on to something else.
Around those 3 words in your next video.
Sure. Okay. I got you, dude. I got you. I'll be like, listen, blue collar fishing said to say. Oh, that's great.
Begging for a shout out.
That's right. That's right.
Hey man, we all started from zero.
Everybody, and we're all climbing the ladder together. So why not help somebody on the way up?
All right, Alex. Hey, me and you had discussed before that we were going. All right, if y'all haven't seen the video, I'll leave the link in the description box below for all of Alex's stuff. Be sure you go and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and watch this video. But he did a video where you were eliminated from a tournament because they called you a semi-pro.
Yeah, man.
I don't know how one's a semi-pro in fishing. I think we're all semi-pro, but okay. I guess because you'd been in a kayak tournament before and you'd won it on YouTube.
So no, I'll explain the whole situation to you.
All right.
So after the fact, I actually got a phone call from one of the guys in the club that kind of explained everything to me. But pretty much was we go. My buddy invites me to fish a club with him. So his brother moved out of town. His dad's just too old to fish all the tournaments with him. And so he says, hey, would you like to fish the rest of these tournaments with me? I said, sure. I think it'll be fun. Great content. Good time to spend with my friend. I said, just make sure that they're cool with me coming and fishing the rest of the tournaments, because I was coming in kind of, a little bit later in the year than I needed to be and all that. And so they said, sure, it'd be great to have you, blah, blah, blah. So I show up, I pay my dues for the club. I pay my entry fee. We go fish this tournament. And honestly, dude, lo and behold, we win this thing. I had zero expectations that day of winning it. I hadn't been up there in months to this lake. But again, like you say, I knew some spots. I knew some areas that there should have been big fish there. And man, we got lucky and we caught big fish there. And we come in, we win with 15 and some change. Ended up beating the next closest guy to us by 3 pounds. We get our money, shake hands. Mind you, we won like $150. So I mean, like, we didn't even get our gas money back on the freaking thing. Like, it was no money involved. You know what I mean? So shake the hands. Everybody seems to be great. We go on, whatever. A week later, my buddy gets a phone call, and it's the tournament director. Tournament director says, listen, Michael, your buddy can't fish with us anymore because he's a semi-professional. And my buddy Michael's like, what does that even mean? He goes, well, he's a semi-professional. I mean, he's got that YouTube channel and da. And so my buddy Michael just pretty much is like, listen, I quit. We want our money back, blah, blah, blah. Well, then the guy calls me a week later. And essentially what happened was the tournament was ran by a group of older gentlemen. And when I say older gentlemen, I'm not talking like 40s, 50s, 60s. I'm talking like these dudes are older than dirt. Like, they're in their late 80s. Like, one dude's like almost 90. And essentially what happened was someone had mentioned that I had a YouTube channel and that I had sponsors, and they just did not understand what I did. Like, they thought I was some kind of professional fisherman because I'd hung out with Jimmy Houston and fished with Edwin, and I had free rods and reels, and I got paid to go fishing. And they thought that I was a professional. They didn't understand that I made YouTube videos. And so essentially what it was just a bunch of older people not understanding what I did, getting scared, and they kicked me out of the club, and I've never been allowed. I'm banned for life is what they told me. And so yeah, I got banned for life from a club tournament for winning the first one. It was it's pretty great.
Semi-professional. Is there AAA in kayak fishing I don't know about?
Hey, I'm a semi-pro. Don't you know? Don't you ever forget it.
All right. So with that being said, I'm a common Joe.
Yeah.
So I don't have electronics. I've never had them. I've never used them ever. It's just I'm blue collar fishing. just not something in my budget, and especially on a kayak. I don't know if I really get the point. So I still do, birds and Carolina rig and go to work. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So me and Alex have this idea: semi-pro versus semi-Joe.
Semi-pro versus semi-Joe. I like it. I like it a lot.
Because I might possibly be a little bit better than your average guy who fishes 2 or 3 times a year with his family on the 4th of July or whatever. Most average Americans don't fish the amount I do, and definitely don't fish the amount you do.
Yeah.
I fish, at least once a week. I try to average once a week. So I fish an average of 52 times a year. But that being said, Rudd actually would have every single advantage in the world over me for this competition.
Probably.
So we're looking at doing a video, the semi-pro versus semi-Joe.
Yep.
So standard kayak rules, 5
Yep.
longest bass.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So 5
Cast
longest
rules.
bass. We'll set a time limit on when you got to catch them and pick a date.
Yep. And go at it.
Share each other's videos and go at it.
Yep. Yep. You pick the body of water you want. I pick mine, and we'll see what happens.
Well, that's another thing too. You live in a big bass factory part of the world.
I do.
I don't live in a big bass factory part of the world.
That's
I live in
one
a much
thing.
higher pressure part of the world.
That's one thing for sure, man. I've always said you want to kill big deer, you got to go where big deer live. If you want to catch big bass, guess what?
You got to go where big bass.
I mean, like, there's people who have an inherent advantage of catching big bass just because they live where big bass live. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you're going to catch them, but it definitely helps.
Look, man, I would love to come down there and do this tournament with you. But you seen these gas prices?
Dude, it's ridiculous. So what's crazy? What's crazy is I got shown how much gas has gone up since May. So there's a video of mine I put out. A guy commented to me and said, he said, "Man, $66 ain't too bad to fill up your truck. It cost me $115." And then I was like, crazy. It shows you how much gas has gone up. So in May, it took me from 1/4 of a tank, $66 to fill my truck up. I filled my truck up 2 days ago from 1/4 of a tank. It cost me $86 to fill my truck up. That's how much gas has gone up since May.
Up here, man, it cost me $100.
That's crazy. What's your gas prices up there?
Right around 5. Like, I think they went down to like 4.70.
Whew, man, that is crazy. That's out of hand.
Yeah,
and dude, that's another thing. That's
we have
a
very high gas tax here too.
Though that's one thing that people don't take into consideration either is gas in boats, like, and gas in trucks. That's another expense added on to the whole going and fishing, professional fishing, whatever else you want to say about it, that people just don't even take into consideration.
What's your keeper limit?
What's my keeper limit? What do you mean?
Well, so we can make it fair.
Oh, 12 inches.
12? Okay.
Yeah,
Mine's
we'll do 12.
But
Let's do 12-inch minimum because we're going to put them back anyway. 12-inch minimum, 5 fish, green or brown, any black bass species.
Okay.
You want to pinch tails or no?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll pinch the tails. There we go. It's pretty much cast rules. We'll do cast rules is what we'll do.
Okay.
Wicked. I'm down. That'll be
12
fun.
12-inch minimum with the pinch tail.
Yep.
5 biggest bass.
Yep.
And we'll set a time frame.
Yep. We'll have to get the date set. We'll do it. I say we do it towards the fall. That way we can both, like, since it's the dead of summer, it's going to suck for both of us. And so I say we do fall, like when it actually picks back up and gets good again.
It's funny. Ours just opened like a month ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
You can't fish this year.
Oh, yeah, you can't, can you? So you can't fish for them at all?
You're not supposed to. No, you're not. The law is written. You're not supposed to make repeated cast into an area you can see during spawning season.
Gotcha. See, like,
so between this date and this date.
Yeah. So, see, when I go to Michigan, we can fish for them. We just can't put them in the live well. So it's immediate.
Yeah, we're not even supposed to fish for them. We definitely can't put them in the live well.
Oh yeah. They don't want to do that. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's cool.
PA is cool in a lot of ways.
It's cool and crazy all at the same time. I mean, it's cool to see the different laws and kind of how the conservation model's set up in different states, but it's also weird. Like some of them are just like very strange to me.
Well, some of them, like a lot of PA, is a bunch of old blue laws to appease the Quakers, and a lot of them are way outdated. Like, actually, 2 years ago, they opened up 4 Sundays a year, but it's illegal to hunt on Sundays in Pennsylvania.
Huh. Yeah, I watched a Meat Eater podcast where they were talking about that.
Yep.
That they had opened the Sunday. There was some state that you weren't allowed to hunt on Sunday, and then they've now made it allowed to hunt on Sunday the entire year. And so it's like they were talking about they've opened up 52 more days, or have the possibility. Obviously, it's not 52 total days, but it's like, there's 52 more days in the year that now a person can do some sort of hunting or trapping or whatever within the state.
They haven't opened all of them yet. 4. They allowed
But
4.
I was just saying it was one particular state. I forget what state. Yeah, it was like Wyoming or something. I think I'm not sure.
Yeah, there were like 4 states before that do it, but most of them got rid of it. But Pennsylvania just has 4. Yeah, as a matter of fact, that his last Meat Eater series, he did a flintlock hunt.
Yeah,
he missed twice.
Yes.
He did that in Pennsylvania because we have a specified flintlock season after rifle season.
Yeah.
Basically, what flintlock is your very last chance to fill your tag.
Huh.
But it has to be a flintlock rifle. It has to be a old flintlock rifle.
Yeah.
And you can shoot buck or doe with a flintlock. Our buck tag actually says antlered or flintlock.
Huh.
And
that's pretty cool.
You also have to have the muzzle loader permit.
That's crazy.
But
dude, flintlock, this screams tough.
Where he was hunting, that was actually the YouTuber Leatherwood Outdoors.
Yeah.
That's their property.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
All right, so we're going to play a game.
Let's play a game. I love games.
When Alex did his Friday Night Lives on here, are you still doing those, by the way?
Yeah, I'm just doing them. I've moved everything from YouTube. I got it off YouTube. I've moved it to Facebook and Twitch. So Friday Night Live still happen 9:00 Eastern time every single Friday. But just instead of Alex Red Fishing YouTube, it's Alex Red Fishing Facebook and Twitch account.
Gotcha. Well, I need the watch time on YouTube, so I just have to unlist it after a week, so it doesn't get in my suggested.
Yeah, yeah, there you
go. So we're gonna play a game. Now, Alex's favorite game on his channel is called Overrated, Underrated.
That's what we're doing tomorrow.
All right. Hey, send me a link. I'll swing in.
Heck yeah.
All right. So, overrated, underrated.
Okay.
Well, I don't call it that because, well, that's Alex's. So, I call it cash or trash. So, the point of this game is this worth the cash, or will it put you into the cash in fishing? Or it's trash, save your money.
Yeah.
All right. So let me get my Google up here. First thing we're going to bring up is something I saw advertised to me. On my recommended not too long ago. My share screen. I should have had this ready. I apologize.
You're good, man. Take your time.
All right. This is the Cinco ring. It is an O-ring with an extra tab now attached to it, to where you can hook the hook through vertically without having to go through the Cinco itself. So you can attach a wacky rig hook through the little eyelet on the Cinco O-ring. Cash or trash?
Trash. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
So my experience with fishing a wacky rig has been, I've caught a lot of fish on a wacky rig. Let's just put it that way. Like a lot of fish, a lot of big fish too. I've had a lot of bad experiences with any kind of ring or tubing where I'm hooking that hook through that wacky rig that traditional way. And the reason for that is it does not allow that worm to slide up the line when you hook one. So if you've got it hooked, the normal way, just under that O-ring, when a fish bites it, that Cinco runs up the line and it gets away from that hook. And so the ones that you hook traditionally where they don't have the ability to slide up that hook, what I've found is I've missed a lot of fish because when those fish bite down on that Cinco and that tube can't get away, or that Cinco can't get away from that hook, that the Cinco will fold up on itself and block the hook, and I won't get a good hook into them. And so for me on that one, it's going to be trash because stuff like that makes me nervous with a wacky rig. I'm also the kind of person that if I find something that works for me, I keep it that way because why try to fix what's broken? Or don't, you get what I'm saying? Don't fix what's not broken. Exactly. Yeah. So that's me on that one.
I can see that. I saw it and I thought, I've never missed that. Because they say if it's hooked like this, that you can pull it out of the bass's mouth. Just set the hook to the side.
I mean, hey,
I've caught more fish on a wacky rig than anything.
Yeah, dude, I TDC them all the time with that hook rigged the in line with the worm. So I'm not worried about it pulling it out of their mouth or whatever. I've hooked way too many.
All right, now this is a little more traditional, but it didn't exist when we were a kid. So, and I will tell you, for me, I've never caught anything on one. The Whopper Plopper. Cash or trash.
Dude, so much cash. So much cash. Bro, I've caught so many fish on a plopping style bait. Cash all day. Now, I will say this. It does take some learning. It takes some learning to figure that one out. For me, it's a very situational bait. It's weird, man. My time that I've spent with a plopping style bait, I'm a big fan of the Chapo. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sponsored by Berkeley. It's not rah-rah bullcrap. The Chapo is really good. It actually has a hard tail instead of a soft tail. And so the thing is just louder. You know what I mean? It's got a more pronounced plop. But anyway, I've caught a lot of fish in weird situations with the bait. And I've also caught a lot of fish in moving water. And it's a bait that I've caught just a ton of fish on in general. So for me, it's cash. But I do understand the sentiment of not catching fish on it because for a long time I couldn't figure out where to throw it. But when I figured out where to throw it and when to throw it, it's like all the puzzle pieces came together. And it's like now, I often say this, it's one of those baits that has influenced me so much that, there used to be situations where I'm like, I don't know what I need to throw here. And it's like now I go, I need to throw a plopper here. I need to throw a plopping style bait here, and I'm going to catch a fish. So.
All right. Okay, now the next one, it's going to be a little controversial for you. Staying in that same realm. Now, I'm assuming this one is designed this way for copyright reasons.
Okay.
There's probably a patent on the Whopper Plopper. It's new enough, probably still have its plopper. So this one, they have moved the revolving part and actually call it the Revolver by the Gugan Squad.
The Gugans.
Cash or trash.
Okay, so I will say this. The design is pretty smart because they put the plopper right where the hook is. So by logical thinking, you would deduce that you want to put a hook where the plop sound is at. So wherever that tat sound is at, that's where those fish are going to focus in on, and that's what they're going to eat. And so the hook placement is actually pretty smart. I don't know. I've never fished one, so it's really hard to have an opinion on that one. I'm going to go like neutral, because an underrated, overrated, it's like we have adequately rated. And for that one, it's like, I don't know, I'm neutral because I've never thrown it, so I don't have enough experience to say yay or nay. But by logical deduction, you would think, hey, putting a hook right there where that plopper is at, that plop, that's pretty smart. Like, that's where you would think that would need to be.
For cash or trash, we just say gift item. If I was gifted it, I wouldn't give it back.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. Gift item. We're gonna re-gift that one.
All right. All right. For the people in the crowd tonight, I actually plan on giving this away. So if you want to subscribe to our channel, subscribe to Rudd's channel, and leave a comment in the replay down below of this live stream, I'll pick one of those comments and give this Monster Bass box away. This is actually my personal Monster Bass box because, unlike Rudd, I'm not a member of the company, so they don't send them to me for free. So this is money out of my pocket for you guys.
And I will do this for you guys as well, just because I'm a real nice guy. I will throw my Monster Bass box in with his Monster Bass box. So not only will you get one, you'll get 2 Monster Bass boxes. So there you go.
Awesome. And me and Rudd live in different regions.
So you get 2 different boxes.
Might be different. Yeah.
There you go. I
appreciate that, Rudd.
Absolutely, dude.
All right. My box. I am in Southeast Pennsylvania. That is the region I live and fish in. That's my box. By the way, you know anybody over at Monster Box? Because y'all could use a little help with this region. And I could use a little help with my channel. All right.
Okay, let's see.
So here we go. We have big bite baits. Real deal crawl.
I like them. I've used those. They're pretty good.
Okay. Yeah. Neutral. Cash or trash.
Man, I'm gonna go cash on a Carolina rig. That's how I caught them on that thing. It was like it was early spring, actually, on that exact color. I caught them on a Carolina rig on that thing. Those things are pretty freaking good. I like them. I dig them.
All right. Okay. Cash. I mean, I've caught fish on these, so
there you go.
Anything you've caught fish on up here is cash.
Hey, I like it.
It is very pressured up here. All right. Now, this may be my personal opinion because I just don't have that kind of patience to really commit to these things because they are a big fish bait. And like you said, I don't have the big bass factories you do. All right. It's a swim bait. And this one is Lunker Hunt. Easy prey. Jointed swim bait.
Oh, there you go.
For me personally, this is trash because I will probably give up on it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. The whole big swim bait thing is super fun, but is very, very situational. You're either one of those dudes that do it all the time, or you're a dude like me who's dabbled in it enough to have fun, but it's not the greatest thing in the whole entire world.
And also living a little further north, a lot of the toothy critter guys throw these. Bass aren't at the top of the food chain in a lot of the water here.
Yeah, exactly. And dude, but that may be fun. Go take that thing and just crack some giant pike with it. It might not be too bad.
Pike might be fun. Yeah. I live in the East Coast, so there's not many pike as there is in like the Midwest. But muskie, like I said, I'm a guy that fishes a lot more than your average guy. Yeah. I've caught one in my entire life.
Really?
They just aren't there for me. All right. Neutral for me. I can go ahead and tell you that. Caught fish on them, but they're not my go-to bait. This is Monster Bass's rattling jerkbait.
That's our topwater. That is the Patriot. Patriot 2.0, correct?
Yeah. Topwater Pencil Patriot 3.0.
3.0. There you go. Yeah.
It looks like a jerkbait.
Yeah. That's a good little. That's a good little topwater, man. I really like it. Especially it's smaller profile, lighter sound. In situations where you're dealing with smaller bait and pressured fish, that thing's legit for a topwater. So I'm going cash on that one. Cash. That's probably the most demanded bait that we ever made. Like when we got rid of that thing, people wanted it back so bad.
Well, somebody in the comments on the replay of this, it could be yours.
For the low price of $19.99. No, just kidding.
No, I'll ship it to you. I'll even pay for shipping.
There you go.
But you got to do all the things I just asked you to do.
That's right.
Uh, I mean, this is obviously going to be cash. Terminal tackles always.
Hey, dude, you can't beat hooks, bro. You can't beat hooks.
You can't catch anything without them.
That's right.
So, but this is a 3/0 mustad. Mustad.
Mustad. Ain't bad. Ain't bad.
All right, and this is our last one. Okay, I've actually caught fish on this. So this is a square bill.
There you go. I actually did the video on that bait for the instructional video for that bait on the Monster Bass YouTube channel.
The Castaic CC square bill 1.0. Actually, that's about the right size for up here too.
Yeah, that's a wicked little bait. Casts really well too. A lot better than I thought it would.
Definitely in shad lakes.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
I mean, I will be honest. I throw a lot more soft plastics than I do hard baits, but I have actually caught a thing or two on a square bill.
There you go.
Oh, there is one more. I forgot. I've never thrown this particular one, but I have thrown one like it. So this is on the spot baits. 3-inch dirty moss baby brush hog.
Oh, I dig it.
You don't have that?
I don't have that one. I've never thrown that one. I've not even seen that one.
Well, here, let me take it out.
Nice. Kind of looks like it's like a brush hog. Yeah, I like that. I like that watermelon color too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is a brush hog. It even calls itself a brush hog. Yeah. They call that color dirty moss.
Dirty moss.
I can't tell you about this one in particular, but yeah, I caught fish on a brush hog.
Hey, you can't beat it. I mean, there you go. Put it up with your 3/0 hook and you're ready to rock and roll.
Yep. Do you fish it weightless or?
I have. I've had success throwing a brush hog weightless, but I'd probably just Texas rig it or put it on a shaky head. Brush hog on a shaky head, a baby brush hog on a shaky head is dangerous. That's dangerous right there. That's good stuff.
All right. So we went through the Monster Bass box, mine, and Rudd did say he would throw his in for this too. Grant said, "Nice, you still have my address." Yeah, Grant won one of my giveaways before. The big one, my 1,000 subscriber giveaway, he won.
That's awesome.
I mailed like I had a bunch of people give me stuff for it when I had 1,000. So
yeah,
it was like $300 or $400, probably $300 worth of stuff.
Nice, man. That's cool. That's cool.
Got a lot of stuff.
Hey, make sure you tune in tomorrow because we're raffling off a bunch of stuff. My good friend, Mr. Caleb Bell, Bass Quest, he had a really, really bad accident at work and ended up breaking his femur, shattering one of his knees, shattering elbow, and compound fracturing his arm. And so he's going to have a lot of expenses around just living with those injuries and all that kind of stuff. And so we're going to do some money raising for him tomorrow. And we're going to be raffling off some TFO rods, some Berkeley baits, and some Monster Bass stuff. So anybody that's listening or anybody that wants to, make sure you tune in for a chance to win some cool stuff.
I tell you what, man, send me all those links. I'll put the links in the description when this is over as well.
Wicked. Will do.
And I'll share it in my Twitter too for you.
Heck yeah.
I'm pretty big shit on Twitter.
Hey, I'll have to follow you on Twitter. I didn't even know that. I have a Twitter, but I don't get on Twitter very much.
I know. It's the one social media platform I'm bigger than you.
Really?
I think so.
That's awesome. That's cool, man.
Maybe. Now that I say that, probably not. Probably made myself out to be a liar.
No, dude, I have no followers. Like I have like 4. Like it's hilarious. Like I have this Twitter just to keep up with goings on in the world. Yeah, dude, that's wicked. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely bigger than you on Twitter.
yeah, you definitely are. That's awesome, dude. I have to get on Twitter more. I have to go get on the Twitterverse.
Yeah. I've got
That's
like
awesome.
6,000 on Twitter.
That's awesome, man.
So I'll tweet it out for you.
There you go. There you go.
I got some guys who are going to be at ICAST next week with you too.
Wicked. That's cool, man. I'll be at the Pure Fishing booth. So that'll be
fishing.
home. Yep, that'll be my home base for the whole time that I'm there.
You know, did anything with mustard bass down there?
Rick's not coming this year. He's actually not decided not to come. X2 won't be there. They decided not to come. AFCO will be there, but I'll just go visit them. I don't really need to spend any time with them. And then everybody else, everything else that I do is within Pure Fishing. So that's everybody else.
All right. Hold on just a second, Grant, and I'll give that to you. It's Alex Rudd Fishing.
Yes.
Is the name of his channel.
Just my name and fishing, and I'll pop right up. And I'm on every social media site: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Go follow me on all those places.
And here is the link for you for Alex Rudd's channel. All right, so we'll get that cat thing. Oh, well, while I got you here, and I've already got you to be controversial.
Okay.
And since this is how you make a living now,
Yes, it is.
we have to acknowledge
I'm waiting.
this. Well, so cash or trash.
Okay.
Come on, click. Oh,
I know what it is. I bet you I know what it is.
the Gugan Squad.
So I have to give respect where respect is due. The Googans did a very a fantastic job of building a brand through social media and through a bunch of influencers, and paved the way for a lot of the rest of us to be able to do what we do. And so I do respect them for what they are and what they do. Now, in every aspect of everything that has how they've done things, do I want to get down with it? No, but that's my own personal choice to do the way that I like to do things, and so I respect them. I'll just put it that way. I definitely respect them. I would not say that they're trash at all. There's a lot of good dudes. TJ Yak Pack is a very good human being, and I have some relationships with some of those guys, so I respect them. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. I know people like to rag on them. I know somebody's in because you're one of the fishing channels that's not associated around them.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there are people who are they've all got their own style. There are some of them I've stopped watching because I just don't like the content they're putting out anymore. Lunkers TV doesn't fish anymore, and I don't give a shit about politics. So I've stopped watching his content. It's just not my thing. I do watch Lake Fork Guy. I think Justin Rackley is probably the best angler among them. Or, you know what? I'll give Alex Perrick his props too. He can fish.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't do much anymore. You hardly ever see him.
Yeah.
So for what they created, you got to give it to them.
Absolutely, you do.
And not only that, but let's go ahead and face facts here. Those kids are the reason this niche exists.
Exactly. It's the reason why I can work with a company like Pure Fishing, because I have to work with a company like Pure Fishing or they're behind the times.
Right.
So I respect them. Respect is all that I can give those guys.
All those elites that were making fun of them so much years ago.
Yep. Now they're sponsored by them.
Yeah, now their name's on your boat.
Yep. Pretty crazy, man. It's pretty crazy.
Now they're worth more than you.
I was there for that. I was there when we got made fun of when we got made fun of for being content creators and when people laughed at us. I was there for that. And I remember the pros, I will say some pros, not all of them, not liking us. And so, yeah, yeah. It's pretty
Were
cool.
you able to launch back during the Lucky Tackle Box days? Is that what really helped launch you past that first stage of your YouTube?
I wouldn't say that it was any like a sponsor or anything, man. It was just dedication to it. Like I just I love this crap, dude. I love
Yeah.
it. I love doing it. I love making content. I mean,
Well, I mean, it was networking at least, right?
yeah. I think more than Lucky Tackle Box, it was a relationship with Rick Patry. That is what helped me to learn the industry. Rick really helped me to learn the industry and to meet people. And it is networking. I've always said I have nothing, and I've made nothing, not because of something I know. It's because of who I know. And Rick Patry was a big mentor of mine inside the industry to help me to be introduced to people, important people too, people that matter. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people in the industry that are fly by night, but then there's people who really matter. And I've been lucky enough to be introduced to the people who matter and the people who I can create a lifelong relationship with that it allows me to do what I do and get to make bass fishing videos for a living. So I wouldn't say it was Lucky Tackle Box. I would just say there was a relationship with Rick Patry more than anything.
So the networking relationship, definitely. Then, I mean, Benjamin Nowak's the best man at your wedding. He's your best friend in the world, and that,
Yeah,
what you
I met him through YouTube at iCast.
Yeah, iCast. I thought it was Lucky Tackle Box. He was with them too.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. It's really really cool. I can't believe it.
Although how they ended really upset me. I'm still waiting on that one box for my
dude,
$12 back.
Yeah, that was a bad situation, man. They ran Rick off and they did Rick real dirty. I mean, that whole thing fell apart in a very ugly and bad way.
So who? Okay, we'll go ahead and cross Ben Nowak off the list because I know that'll be your answer.
Yeah.
Excluding yourself and Benjamin Nowak because you're pretty much two sides of the same coin. Who's the favorite person you fished with from this?
Favorite person I fished with from this? Probably Jimmy Houston. Jimmy's the man.
Legend.
Dude, Jimmy's the man. He's cool as a freaking fan. Like, Edwin's probably going to be like, come on, Alex. You know it was me. Edwin, you're a good dude. I love you. But Jimmy was just cool as a fan. The whole experience of going to Jimmy's house was just, it was off the chain. Like, it's so cool. Yeah, Edwin's awesome. I love it. I love E. But dude, Jimmy's whole experience, his house, the farm, the deer, the turkeys, the elk, the fishing. I mean, it was an experience. It was really cool.
Let's face facts, man. Jimmy Houston was what Edwin Evers wants to be before Edwin Evers was an itch in his daddy's pants.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Have a good night, Grant. Really appreciate you coming in. Hey, if you win that, be sure. Yeah, I think I do still have your address, actually.
That's funny.
But I can get it from you again. All right. A little more cash or trash, and we'll go a little different. We just talked about gas prices.
Yeah.
Being absolutely ridiculous. And as someone that pulls a boat, I really want to know your opinion on this.
Yeah.
This is the new Ford F-150 Lightning electric vehicle.
Got me excited. All right, so I think this is like, I think this is the single biggest leap in electric vehicle technology that we've seen yet. For Ford to be able to make a truck fully electric and it still be a full size truck that can pull a boat and pull a trailer and do all the things that a full size truck does, I think that is absolutely amazing. The problem in there lies the infrastructure to be able to own an electric vehicle just is not there yet. And what I mean by that is, okay, I do tow a boat. So if I tow my boat 2 hours away from my house to Lake Chickamauga, which I do very often, I don't have a way to charge my truck while I'm on the water because there aren't any charging stations at any boat ramps near me. And so I'm dead in the water when I get my boat out of the water. I have to go find a charging station and sit there and let my truck charge. And let's be honest, I'm not going to find a charging station where I can park my boat and my truck. And so it's just not feasible for me to own an electric truck yet. Now, that being said, once the infrastructure is put in place for us to be able to charge our boats or charge our trucks at boat ramps, then dude, something like a Ford Lightning becomes invaluable to people because I mean you start eliminating this huge expense which is gas in your everyday needs to be able to own a boat and operate that boat, which is just crazy and it's cool. And what's really cool is the TVA has promised to put charging stations within 500 miles of every single day. It's like there's some ridiculous amount of charging stations that the TVA is going to put around all these dams, and they're going to supply the electricity to those charging stations using TVA dams in hydroelectricity. And so, dude, I think it is so cool. I mean, I want to say cash all day long, but just the lack of infrastructure for that, it almost makes it trash because you have this enormous leap in technology and this enormous leap for electric vehicles and EVs, but we just can't really do it yet because the infrastructure doesn't exist for us to be able to have an electric vehicle.
Yeah, I will at this time. It just doesn't work for us
Nope.
guys. It just doesn't.
Nope.
I wish it did, but there is, like you said, there's no infrastructure to charge it. There aren't any EV outlets at any lakes, and especially if you're a kayak guy, we haul our kayaks to some pretty. I mean, that is the ideal of having a kayak is to be able to go to these more remote areas you can't get a boat into.
Yeah, I think
there's not even electricity at those, much less an EV port.
I think that we will see a time. I think it'll be within the next 20 years, maybe 25. I think that we'll see a time when an electric vehicle will become a feasible option. And it's going to have to be when battery technology allows these vehicles to have like 700 and 800-mile ranges, and when I can charge my vehicle almost anywhere. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, I can tell you in certain areas, especially where I live, it is, for people who don't have the same interest as us, it is a feasible option.
Exactly.
Every time I go to the grocery store, I bet you I can see 4 or 5 Teslas in the parking lot now.
Uh-huh.
It used to be 0, but there are 2 charging ports at the grocery store for EVs. There are 2 charging ports at the local gas stations now for EVs, the quick charge.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned something in one of your lives that I was in one time, and I don't know if it'll be in our lifetimes, but maybe in my kids' lifetimes, they will look back at the internal combustion engine like we look back at like the 50 Bel Air Chevrolet. Like, oh, that's an old gasser.
Yeah, I do too, man.
Maybe.
I think and I think one thing, and I heard Elon Musk say this, and I really, really agreed with him when he said it, and that was, industry will have to accommodate the rise of electric vehicles. And so, we don't have to make gas stations be built. Competition and need for gas stations is what makes gas stations be built. It doesn't have to be subsidized by the government for us to build gas stations. But these electric car charging stations still have to be subsidized by the government because there's just not enough need. There's not enough demand for it to exist yet. And so I think the more electric vehicles you start to see, the more demand you start to see. But I do agree. I think that there will be a point in human history, I don't know when, that we will see a old Tundra rolling down the road and you're going to be like, oh my God, look at that old gasser. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
All right. On this next one, now I was at a saltwater show in New Jersey for the Jersey coast last winter, and I ran into these guys. I got a fishing buddy up here who's got an aluminum boat, gets them out on the water, but the rivets have started to leak, so he's looking for an affordable alternative, and something that's he's getting up in age, so he's looking for something that's stable enough for him as well. And I ran into, let me go ahead and get this one done. I ran into these guys at this show, and I thought it was a very neat concept. But also, what was on the back of it was also something that intrigued me, and kind of staying around the same genre. This is the Tuffy plastic fishing boat. It is roto molded plastic John boat,
Huh.
uh, 14 foot, and that is an
It's a
electric
torpedo.
outboard.
Yeah, it's a
There's
torpedo.
EV. Yep.
Uh,
No, no,
It's
it's
not a
like a
torpedo.
no. It's like I don't know who it's made by, but it's Torpedo is like the one that you attach to the back of the kayak, like Chad Hoover's.
So Torpedo makes a big one though too.
Okay, well maybe it
Yeah,
is made by Torpedo, but
yeah.
I believe it was a equivalent of a 10 horsepower gas outboard, so a
Huh.
9.9 or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest thing to this, brand new on the trailer, the base model without the
Yeah.
outboard, they
Yeah.
start at an MSRP of $3,000.
That's cheaper than my Hobie. That's big stuff. I mean, with the outboard on the back of it, that's cheaper than my Hobie. That's pretty cash in my opinion.
Okay.
Dude, I really I think
Well, no, no, that's without the outboard. That's just the
oh, without
base
the outboard.
for the boat. That's just the boat and the trailer.
Still ain't bad. I mean, you can't buy a
Might
brand
even
new
be just the
Hobie in a
boat, but yeah,
I mean, you
I
can't
don't
buy a
have a
boat.
Hobie. I've got a Lightning, and mine was around 2,000.
Yeah, I mean, my Hobie brand new was $5,000.
That's ridiculous.
Just the kayak. So I didn't get a trailer with it. So boat, kayak and trailer or boat and trailer, that's pretty cool, man. I think you're going to see a rise. And we're already seeing it. You're seeing a rise in aluminum bass boats because of affordability, and I think you're going to see the rise in more plastic roto-molded boats because of affordability. And anything that makes angling more affordable for the angler, kind of going back to what we started this show off with, I think is what advances the sport and what does well for the sport, because accessibility to the sport is the most important thing. The lowest threshold that we can have for people to get into the sport is what is needed to get people into the sport and have a passion for it. So I think that's really cool. I'm going cash on that one.
I'm going cash on as well because anything that gets you out on the water.
Anything
And
gets you outdoors.
the gentleman I go fishing with, he doesn't feel, you know, he's getting up in his 60s.
Uh-huh.
He's had several surgeries. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
feel stable on a kayak. He's had his collarbone operated on about 4 or 5 times. So throwing a kayak on top of a roof, or
Uh-huh.
loading it in and out by hand is probably a little difficult for him. And I stood inside of one of these things, and you can do jumping jacks.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, it's basically a plastic pontoon boat.
That's really cool.
So I'm going cash on it as well because if it gets you out on the water, you remember the Sun Dolphin Pro had one similar like that, a plastic
Yeah,
ring boat
yeah.
that was in the more affordable range. And actually, that's what John B started out on.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember that.
So
Huh.
I will go
That's cool.
cash on that one as well.
Faux show.
Okay. Now, this, in my opinion, is the biggest change to fishing in the past 100 years. And I am pretty guaranteed I know your answer on it.
I think I know what it is.
Okay, this is what comes up. So it's not an advertisement, just so you know. It's just when I type in the website, this is what comes up for me.
If it's my face, I can't wait.
Well, it might be at the time. I close the window. Hold on just a second.
You're good. Take your time.
I go ahead and put it on this one so I don't share anybody else's stuff without their permission. The biggest change to fishing in the past 100 years, in my opinion, is this YouTube.
YouTube.
Cash
Yeah.
or trash.
Well, in my humble opinion. Cash, man. Cash. It has totally changed the dynamic of the fishing industry. It's totally changed the dynamic of the world as we know it. YouTube and other platforms like YouTube, instant media, on-demand media is the future of media. These legacy media companies, TV and radio and written word such as newspapers and things like that are dying, and they're not going to exist much longer. I really believe I see radio dying within the next 15 to 20 years. I see TV dying, TV as far as like cable TV dying within the next 15 to 20 years. And I mean, print media, essentially does not exist anymore. Everything is online. And so it's already dead. And so YouTube changed the game, and they're going to continue to change the game. So it's cash, man. It's cash. It's so cool that it allowed me to quit my normal job as a teacher and be able to do YouTube full time. So I'm going cash all day on that one.
Yeah, me too. I will say though, social media in general and the internet are both the single greatest thing created in the past 100 years and the single worst thing created in the past 100 years.
I don't disagree, but I will say this. Just like a hammer, it's a tool. And just like a hammer, I can build a house or I can smash somebody's brains in with it, but it's still just a hammer.
Yep. Agree completely.
Yep.
But there are some toxic traits to it.
Oh yeah, man. The internet's just allowed people who would have never had a voice before to have a voice, and people who would have never had enough balls to have a voice. And if the interactions were in real life, they probably wouldn't go down like they do on the internet. And that's why I don't invest into the comments.
I actually saw somebody, I think it was on TikTok, in 1986, A&W Restaurants created a third a pound burger to compete with McDonald's with a quarter pounder. They offered a bigger product at a lower price point.
Yeah.
And it failed colossally. Colossal. It failed. Yeah, I don't know. I can't.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
It was a colossal failure.
There you go. That's what we're trying to say.
It was a colossal failure because Americans thought it was smaller than the quarter pounder.
It was a third instead of a fourth because they thought it being a fourth, the bottom number being a four, meant it was bigger. Yeah, I taught my second graders that wasn't true. That's a failure of our education system. Anyway, I said it.
And that's why I don't argue with strangers on the internet.
Exactly. I have a saying about that, but I'm not going to say it on here because it's not PC at all. So we'll just move on.
All right. We started this program talking about the Bassmaster Classic. When we were a kid, our heroes fished in FLW. FLW no longer exists. So, cash or trash? The Major League Fishing format.
Man, that's a good one. I'm indifferent. I'm so indifferent because I just don't invest almost any time or effort or energy into professional fishing. I mean, it's like something I put on in the background. You know what I mean? Just because it's fishing. It's because it's fishing. It's not because it is professional fishing. It's just because it's fishing. And there's no single angler that I'm super invested into doing well. Now, Edwin, now that I know him, I'm invested into him. I want to see him do well because I know him. But just in general, man, I mean, I think the format is really, really cool. I think the execution is a little wonky. I would love to see biggest five fish, but catch, weigh, release. I think that would be cool. You know what I mean? The every fish counts format is also cool, but I think the biggest part of that I think is the coolest part, that's definitely the cash part of the whole deal, is catch, weigh, release. I think that's huge for conservation. I think that's great for the fishery. I think it's helping to promote something that almost every tournament organization needs to be doing, if at all possible. I'm just not huge on. I mean, like, dude, some of the tournaments earlier in the year where those boys were down in Texas catching like freaking 10 and 9 and 8 pounders. I mean, that crap was crazy. Catching giants, and they're catching like 13 of them in a day. And like, they had 13 fish that the average weight was like 6.5 pounds, and they had like 200 pounds of bass. I mean, it's just freaking crazy. That's cool. But like some of these tournaments where they sit on one bank with a shaky head and catch 25 1-pounders, it's just, I mean, it's cool. It's fun. I would do this same exact thing, but it's just not as cool when you catch as. So I don't know. It's cool. It has cool aspects. I'm gonna go neutral. Like, I'm very neutral just on the whole concept. It doesn't affect me. So
I think I'm kind of neutral on it. I do like the ideal of it though, and I'll tell you why. I think there is something we were discussing earlier that can make this a lot more toward the cash and the trash. MLF, their format would be the most accessible to the everyday angler.
Absolutely, you are 100% correct there.
Make it like the U.S. Open. Open it up to anybody who can qualify.
Yep.
If you open it up to anybody, like we talked about this earlier, if you really are claiming that you are some of the best in the world at what you do, then you shouldn't be scared of some guy in a aluminum boat with a Zepco 33.
I don't disagree.
So if you open it up to everybody, I would say straight cash, because MLF is the closest format that is feasible.
Yes.
Because you don't need a live well. You don't need a 70,000 glitter rocket with a 300 horsepower motor. You just need room on the boat for you, the marshal, and your gear.
Yeah.
So open it up to 16-foot boats, aluminum giant boats, anybody who can get out there.
Yep. Agree.
And then I would say it's straight cash.
Cash. Well, then too, they still have the I mean, like, they have the BFLs and the MLF Big Five, and then the Major League Fishing. I mean, so they have a qualification process that's affordable, which is cool too.
Yeah.
Well, how does golf work? Like, how do you get your PGA card?
You have to win so many amateur tournaments.
Why don't we just do fishing like that? Here's an amateur tournament. You got to win so many of them, then you're a pro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'll work.
I don't know. Anywho,
I agree. The thing is most amateurs can't afford the entry fees.
That's
MLF,
true.
you almost can.
Yeah.
So why have an entry fee that common people can afford, but only leave it open to the pros who have everything sponsored?
Yeah. Interesting. Good point.
So you make it where, hey, if I win the qualifier over the weekend, I'm entered.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
And what do you think about the co-angling thing no longer being a thing anywhere? I mean, FLW got rid of it before they sold to BASS. BASS doesn't have co-anglers.
I would never pay money back to somebody's boat. I know that's kind of, I don't know. I just would never do that. Like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to pay to be the pro, quote unquote, and run my own boat. I've heard horror stories about co-anglers, and I think that anybody that says, well, I'm a co-angler because I want to learn from the best, well, 90% of the time you're just going to get put in the boat with some dude that is just a dude who paid the money. You know what I mean? Like, you're not oftentimes going to get put in with a true blue pro. I mean, I think co-angling is cool. I think it makes the sport more accessible. But for me, I would never, ever, ever, in any circumstance whatsoever, pay money to fish out of the back of somebody's boat.
All right. Now, on accessibility and affordability.
Oh, excuse me, I'm getting a little sleepy.
I'm sorry, man.
Oh,
Keep
you're
it.
good. Yeah, I got up early this morning. I'm gonna get up after it again in the morning. I'm starting to get starting to catch up with me now.
All right. This is another and that changed the fishing over the years with the rise of its popularity. And I'm pretty sure me and you will both have the same opinion on this one. Kayak fishing.
Oh, so
Cash or
much cash,
trash?
so much cash,
Cash. So much
so
cash.
much cash, dude. Like,
Most
okay, the
cash
fact,
all night.
yeah, man. I mean, so no gas, low barrier to entry. If you do want to go fish a high level kayak tournament, you can pay a $250 entry fee and go fish a Hobie Open and have a chance to win $10,000. I think that the kayak fishing overall, the entire thing, kayak fishing in general, is so much cash, just because it is everything that everybody wishes everything else was when they say, you know, like, we want to grow the sport. Kayak fishing is the number one proponent for growing the sport of bass fishing, in my opinion.
Yep, absolutely.
There you go. I mean, I don't think that one's too
I'm a
hard.
guy who's, like I said, blue collar. That is my niche. My niche is affordability, budget friendly, and all that.
Yeah.
I've got two. One for me, one for my kid, or a buddy.
Yep.
It is the most affordable and accessible way to get off the bank.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
And it's also like you can buy a really nice kayak for $5,000.
Yes.
$5,000, and you have got the Cadillac of kayaks.
Yes. Well, I'll put it this way. I
And
bought
that
my
is a lot of money to spend on floating plastic. I will say that. But can you buy
so my
a bass boat for $5,000?
my express boat, my express not X19, my Hobie is 5/67 of my X19. So my X19 off the lot was 67 grand. So there you go. And that's a very, very affordable bass boat, because they're selling brand new skeeters for 100 grand right now.
That's
It's
insane.
crazy.
That's a house. That's a house.
Yeah, it's a house. It's crazy.
Well, it was before the pandemic.
True. Yeah. Now houses, they're selling 2 acres across the street from me for $100,000 right now. So it's 2 acres.
All right. Now we're both children of the '90s, so let's go back to the '90s, and I will tell you about the two kinds of fishermen. There are two kinds of fishermen in this world:
Waterfalls.
the Gary Yamamoto Cinco stick bait,
Uh-huh.
cash or trash.
It's the one that started it all. It's the one that built every other stick bait ever. It's copied off the old Senko. In
That's the
my
reason I
box,
put them up there.
in my box, it's gonna be trash, because the Max Scent General is just blows a freaking Cinco out of the water. It's
Okay.
ridiculous, man. That Max Scent technology is for real. This is not rah bull crap. I was buying Max Scent Generals before I was even sponsored by Berkeley, and won a tournament throwing a Max Scent General before I was ever sponsored by Berkeley. Dude, I'm telling you, the Max Scent General is just, it's just it, man. It's so good. It is so good. It's replaced all the Cincos in my boat.
You're gonna love what's next on the list. Um, I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna say it's still cash.
Yeah.
Even
Okay.
with all, even with all of its copycats nowadays. Now, I will say just the stick bait in general. If we're just
Yes.
saying stick bait,
Yeah.
absolute cash.
Yes. Yes.
The most cash ever made in bass fishing lures.
Oh yeah.
It just is.
I think the only thing that probably compete with it is just a good old fashioned jig. Like as far as catching, like how many fish have been caught on it, I think, and it's only because the jig has existed longer. That's the only reason.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it'll compete with it. I really don't. I have caught 20 times as many fish on a wacky rig or a Texas rig,
So
Cinco,
good.
or
It's so good. This
it's
is so
just,
good.
and it's just plastic and a big pin mold.
Yep.
And I will have to say cash because even with all the copycats out there, I still have Gary Yamamoto's in my bag because he has the salt ratio and the sinking timing, and
Yeah.
it's got the Yamamoto one seems to have slightly different wiggle than some of the others, but I've caught bass on all the others, including the Berkeley Max scent. So, and because without Gary Yamamoto, there would be no Berkeley Max scent.
Yep.
So
Yep.
cash.
Yep.
So I can't say it's trash when without him there wouldn't be any of the rest of them.
Yep.
And this one, all right. Now this one is going to show some specific tackles, but I actually want to know about not the tackle itself, because there is nothing new under the sun. All these existed before. But Berkeley's patented scent, cash or trash.
God, so much cash. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Listen.
it's
I wish
amazing how good that
it's
scent
it's
is.
stupid. Like I wish I could tell you what was in it or how they did it, but it is kept under lock and key. And I mean, like it is like trying to pry answers out of Area 51. Um, man, it's so good. Like it is so, so, so good, man. So good.
Um, Actually, good point, Chris. I'll bring that up next on this. But yeah, straight cash, straight cash. Their max scent, their regular scent, their gulp is
Everything.
amazing.
Gulp, yeah,
Everything on their
gulp.
scent.
Yeah, gulp is off the charts. Like people don't understand, but people often forget gulp, but gulp is off the charts as far as like it's almost slightly better than max scent. Max scent is just max scent's stupid. I mean, it's stupid. Like I've literally outfished people fishing the same exact shape bait because I'm fishing max scent. It's crazy.
If I'm fishing, especially if I'm fishing like a lake that's new to me, or I just want to see what's in there, or what catch, or I'm multi-species fishing with
Yeah,
my kids, because
yeah,
well, they're older now, but when they were younger, a kid goes fishing to catch fish. He don't care
yeah,
what fish it is; he just wants to catch fish. So
yeah.
we put that Gulp Alive minute on a split shot rig.
Yep,
Just go to town.
yep. It's crazy.
Go to town. It's nuts. I did it last week. Had a great of fun. Gulp and power bait makes me dry heave
It's
from
max scent.
exhaustion.
Max scent smells like
Really
feet.
in fish.
Max scent smells like feet and protein powder. Next time you get a bag of Max scent, crack it open. It's feet and protein powder.
Well, maybe that's what fish pheromones smell like.
Maybe.
Because I swear there's got to be pheromones in it.
There's some. I really don't know. I wish I knew, but I have no idea how they do it.
All right. All right. Sticking with baits. Pick something to come up here. All right. This is the Z-Man Elastec. The Elastec technology, cash or trash?
I've never really even never really even thrown a lot of it, to be honest with you. I know some saltwater dudes who swear by this stuff just because they don't have to spend a lot of money, and saltwater fish will eat dang near about anything. I've just never been a huge fan of Z-Man. I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of Z-Man. I mean, the jackhammer and the bladed jigs, right? But the plastics themselves, just not a huge fan. Elastic kind of gets on my nerves, to be totally honest with you. That's just my humble opinion. I've never really thrown a ton of it, so that's kind of why. There's people who would like totally disagree with me, but
It's
I've
not
just
just
never. Yeah,
their plastics. I don't. I get the concept of it, and I I wish I could get closer to it being cash for me because I do like the ideal of not having to replace baits.
Yeah,
But they all float,
yeah,
even when you don't want them to.
yeah,
So they all float, which is okay on a Ned rig sometimes maybe, or I don't know, Carolina or shaky head. But there's some situations I don't want a floating bait. It
yeah,
doesn't make the, and also I've noticed when I've used Z-Man, I fished it some, not a lot. One, because of that Elastec, the toughness of the Elastec, they
yeah,
are almost impossible to rig straight.
yeah, yeah. It's
And
like there's.
you
It's
got
like
to
if you. Yeah, if
rip
you
it out of the
gotta.
barb to straighten
Yeah.
it out. It takes twice as long to
What's
bait a hook.
it's like I would almost say that it's like there's almost a if you're gonna fish elastic that you almost have to learn how to deal with the actual bait itself. It's like there's a technique with dealing with the bait, and I just think that's ridiculous. Like I shouldn't have to deal with some technique for getting the bait on the hook to fish with a bait. Like just make it normal. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just me. I mean, there's gonna be people who disagree, but hey, whatever.
I just don't like their sink rate. Also, they
They
don't
don't sink.
feel they don't sink. They
Yeah.
don't feel real. Like you ever touched a shad, like a live shad you caught or picked up off the water or whatever? Their scales they rub off.
Yeah.
It feels like salt. A
Yeah.
Cinco feels the exact same way when you touch it, or any salt filled plastic or whatever. That salt in it gives it a lifelike texture to me,
Yeah.
and Elastec does not.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's like using a soft plastic but having a fake texture like a hard bait.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Before we wear you out, man.
Yeah, I got to get the old kayak loaded up and get all my fishing stuff together here in just a minute. So
I'm headed to Cabela's tomorrow. I got some with a fishing buddy. I've got some cards from Christmas I've got to use.
got some cards, burn a hole in your pocket.
Yeah. And he's driving, so I'm saving the gas money.
There you go. There you go.
So Cabela's, head at the cigar bar, have a drink. Sogi.
He is. He is. He is.
You got to put in the work for your relationships, man.
That's right.
All of them.
That's right.
Well, you're married now, so you'll figure out. Guys, after you've been married for so long, guys don't have friends. What they have is wives who have friends who have husbands.
I like that. That's funny.
All right. This is the one that was brought up. So I will use it as an example. And I actually have some of this in my bag. I will admit that. But this one and all the rest of them, scent attractants. This is Liquid Mayhem's add-on scent. Scent attractant, cash or trash? Does this catch fish or just fish or money?
So my opinion on this is that it gets washed off. I believe that there may be a benefit to it in the short term, but in the long term. So the difference between those and Berkeley, because we're going to compare it to Berkeley. Berkeley's scents are infused into the bait and they distribute into the water over a long period of time. You know, it's a
Slow
the way that
discharge.
yes, the way that it's formulated, when that thing hits the water, it starts to leak out into the water. You know those commercials where you see the Berkeley baits and like the red things coming off of them? That literally is what's happening in the water. With those gels and stuff like that, new bait fuel and all that, I mean, it's going to wash off eventually. And so, I mean, yeah, there may be some added benefit to it. But I mean, it's just not the same technology as like what a Berkeley is using, you know, with those infusions into the bait. You know, the baits like a Berkeley Max Scent General is literally impregnated. I mean, the whole entire material is a Max scent that's distributing that scent into the water. And so, any kind of the additives like that, I believe there can be some benefit, but I don't believe it's as good of a benefit as an infused plastic like a Berkeley Max scent or Power Bait or Gulp. And so, I'm gonna go. I don't want to say trash because I do believe heavily in scent, but I believe anything outside of an infusion process where you have that distribution in the like infusion in the plastic distribution in the water is going to be a trash for me.
I can see that. I can. Um, Hard baits aren't infused, so if you're putting it on a crankbait or
But then it's a reaction bite.
yeah,
This fish ain't smelling it. You're not tricking them. You're just getting them to eat.
or if you're using a plastic that doesn't have infused scent in it, yeah, I get it
Yeah,
for that. Or
I
like
think in those
there are a lot of
situations.
flukes like the Zoom fluke. They're not infused with scent, but they have that cavity in the bottom of the body that you could fill with the scent.
So in a situation like that, you know, plastisol is gonna suck in a little something. You know, not a lot, but it'll suck in a little bit. And so, like, I think doing your baits, like put the scent in the night before and let them set. I think that can help, but just rubbing it on there and then throwing it straight in the water, I don't think that helps at all. I think if you take something like a liquid mayhem and put it in the bag and let that plastic soak in some of that scent, I think that can help.
Agreed. But I do have it. I mean, Liquid Mayhem sent me some of it. I have used it. I have caught fish on it. I've caught fish without it. I've caught,
Yeah.
But neutral, I guess. I mean, I can see its purpose. I can see, it's just a little something extra.
Yeah.
But you know what? If it builds your confidence, yeah. Now, in the same universe as Berkeley scent, nope.
Nope. That's a negative, Captain.
Not in the same stratosphere. I have caught more fish than you can fit in your boat on Berkeley's Gulf.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Agree to disagree.
That's right.
I agree with you,
Right.
Chris. If it gives you confidence and you catch fish with it, perfect. Like I said, this isn't our professional opinions; it's just our opinion.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
and he's right.
nobody's paying us to say this.
Take the Taku Ito approach. Yeah, Taku was doing a lot of like the impregnation of baits. He'd put that scent. He was impregnating normal soft plastics with scent. That's exactly what you have to do with it because that's what Max Scent Power Bait is. It's impregnated into the bait, and so that's exactly what you have to do.
Stuff V&M uses horrid. I don't know what.
Yeah, it is hard. V&M's bait smell just something funky. They're crazy smelling.
You remember Berkeley's Havoc?
Yeah,
You can still get that at Ollie's
yeah,
for some reason. I don't know.
yeah.
It's been
Havoc
off the
was.
shelf for how long now?
I don't know, man, but Havoc was Havoc is what they just. I mean, they moved all the shapes into the Berkeley line. I mean, it's just Berkeley Power Bait now, but I mean, it's the same shapes.
Right. But
It's
with their
funny.
Max Scent technology.
Yeah,
Never had any luck with Berkeley, only trout dough. I've caught more trout than you can fit in your boat with that trout dough too. And I've had much luck with Berkeley.
Yeah.
I've had more luck with Berkeley than everything except maybe a stick bait. So All right, Alex. You've got a kayak to get up.
I do.
Are you car topping it or
Nah, I put it in the back of my truck.
in the bed?
Yeah, put it in the bed. Yeah, so I finally got my new Holby hole in because I got a hole in the other one. So I got my new hole in. I got everything transferred over there. I got to get some rods rigged, get some baits put in a bag, and then I am heading to go practice for a kayak tournament that I got Saturday. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow.
I hate the smell of salmon eggs too. Yeah, me too. But you know what? They don't make it for me to eat.
That's true. That is true.
So,
May smell like butt to us, but the fish like it.
I hate the smell of
Well,
chicken livers too, but a lot of people catfish with them.
that's right. That's right. Well, brother, listen, man, I appreciate you having me on. It's always a good time. I'm gonna go out here and we'll get a kayak loaded up and we'll get ready to get after it tomorrow. All right.
All right, man. Have a good night, Alex. Hey, send me those links to everything for your Twitch and Facebook tomorrow, and I'll put all Alex's information in the description box below. I'll leave this up for a week until next week's, and I have a video launching Tuesday afternoon. The new video will be up. Alex, when's your next video launch?
Sunday morning, 5 a.m.
Sunday morning, 5 a.m. for Alex. Have a good night.
All right, buddy. You too. It's good to see you, man.
I will see y'all next time.